If you're watching this, you are either pregnant, about to be a parent, or supporting somebody who is. Lalalu is here to help you navigate pregnancy, birth, and parenthood through helpful, practical, evidence-based information. We are here to help you cut through all of that noise and give you the right advice that you can really trust. You might be feeling excited, you might be feeling terrified. Whether it's your first, second, third, fourth, fifth child, it is an unknown adventure because every child is unique and different. So we have created a brand new antenatal and postnatal education. We like to call it I.C.E. You are going to become informed, confident and empowered. I.C.E. I.C.E. This is I.C.E Pregnancy. It's going to be followed by I.C.E Birthing and then followed by I.C.E Parenting. You're going to be cool, calm and collected. You got this. If you enjoy this video, like it and why not share it with somebody else that can benefit from all of this free information in one place. So let's talk about how this happened. No, I'm not going to talk about the birth and these, but you might have had different journeys to get here. You might have been trying for years and years and had a really rough time. You might have just started trying and it happened immediately, or this might be unplanned. However it happens, it all happens in the same way, and we're going to talk about the science bit now. What I'm going to talk to you about is how an egg is fertilised in the uterus. So once a month, an egg is released from the ovary. Now you've got two ovaries, so it's released from just one of them, and an egg or multiple eggs are released. Now they travel down the fallopian tube and they have 12 to 24 hours to make this journey dependent on the person. Now if the egg isn't fertilised by the sperm within this 12 to 24 hour window, the egg travels into the uterus and the process repeats itself for another month. So you have 12 to 24 hours a month to make a baby. Easy, right? No, not really, because you never know when that 12 to 24 hour window is going to be. Everybody's cycles are different. So this usually happens around 14 days after the first day of the last period. But some people are different. It might be 16 days, it might be 18 days, so you never quite know why that's going to happen, which is why it's really tricky and you have such a short window to get pregnant every month. So now we're going to talk about due dates. Now, as we've just mentioned, everybody's cycle is different. Everybody ovulates on different days. We know roughly, but it's definitely not an exact science. We also know that due dates are calculated from the first day of your last period. So we know that ovulation dates are different. We also know that you will carry your baby for different lengths of time. Nobody is exactly the same. That would be a bit strange if everyone did things exactly to the clock. So due dates are not an exact science, they're an estimation. So the World Health Organization say that the normal length of pregnancy is between 37 and 42 weeks. That is a big range of normality. In the UK, your due date is calculated on the assumption that your pregnancy will last 40 weeks, so somewhere in the middle. Now, only 4% of babies in the UK are born on their due date, with around 85% born after their due date. Now, we know that we put a lot of pressure on the due date. You'll be thinking about it. Caregivers and friends and family, as we've said, you'll put pressure on your baby and you might start to feel quite anxious, quite nervous and stressed around that due date. Now we know if you continue to watch the birthing videos that stress and anxiety does not help us in pregnancy. It doesn't help our bodies to birth our babies naturally. So what we want around the due date is feeling calm, feeling happy and confident, and you're a lot more likely to have your baby on your due date. So to avoid all this pressure, why not move your due date? It sounds strange. How can I move my due date? Well, in hospitals at your scans, doctors can move the due dates all the time. So it might be that you go in, they take measurements of the baby, and the due date has moved slightly because of the length, because of the size of the baby. Now, you could come out of a scan if the date hasn't moved and let your friends and family know that the due date has moved. That just gives you a little bit more wiggle room to avoid all of those messages on the due date, to avoid stress and pressure, and to also reframe the due date in your mind that the baby is potentially likely to come not at 40 weeks, but anywhere between 37 and 42 weeks, because that is the range of normal set out by the World Health Organization. So your baby's not late if they're due at 40 weeks, if they arrive, at 40 weeks. They are simply not ready to be born yet, and that's very normal. So don't put that pressure on yourself, and don't let others put pressure on you to have your baby at 40 weeks. So your pregnancy is measured in trimesters, and you have 3. First, second and third. The first one is 0 to 12 weeks, the second one is 12 to 28 weeks, and the third one is 28 to 40 weeks. And they also measure your days with the days as well. So it might be that you're 12 plus 2 or 24 plus 3, and that means you're 24 weeks and 3 days, or 12 weeks and 2 days, and that's how you measure throughout your pregnancy. So what does your pregnancy journey look like? It's likely that you found out between 4 and 6 weeks is usually normal. And at that point, the first 2 weeks of your pregnancy, as we've always discussed, you're not actually pregnant. It's before you've ovulated. But that doesn't matter. It's counted within the full gestation. So your gestation, the weeks that you are pregnant, is measured from the first day of your last period. So you'll likely find out when you're 4 to 6 weeks. At that point, what do? It's one of those moments where you take a test, realise that you're pregnant, and you think, what do I do now? Nobody ever really talks about that, so let's go through it. So once you've found out that you're pregnant, you might have done a test at home, or several if you just want to check it. You then give your GP a call. Your GP will put you in touch with your local midwifery unit or the local hospital. At that point, you potentially have to make a decision about which hospital you want to go to. It's a very big decision early on, so don't worry, you can change it nearer the birthday. Don't worry, it's not a decision that's set in stone. From that point, you will give the midwife a call, and the midwife will book you in for several appointments. So throughout your pregnancy, you will get 10 antenatal appointments, and that's if you're a first-time parent. If you're a second, third, fourth, fifth-time parent, you will have 7 appointments, so it's slightly less. The location for these appointments might be different each time, or they might be the same. You will either go to your GP practice, your local children's centre, or your local hospital. Some people are looked after by midwives all the way through, and will potentially see the same midwife that they will see on the birthday. And some people have what's called shared care, and that means that you will sometimes see your midwives and you will sometimes see your GPs. You will also see other people, obstetricians, which are doctors that specialise in birth. You might see specific specialists if you have a very specific medical situation. You might see a sonographer, which is somebody who will scan your baby, and you might see an anaesthetist during birth, which is the person that delivers any drugs or pain relief that you might need. So the first appointment is to check your medical history. It's usually with a midwife, and it's somewhere between 6 and 9 weeks. And they will ask all about your medical history, so be prepared to answer lots and lots of questions, and they will create your file for the birth of your baby. At 12 weeks, you will have your second appointment, and that is the appointment that everybody looks forward to. It's the appointment where you get to see your baby for the first time. Now, that appointment is usually done in the hospital with a sonographer. They will check your baby or see if there's multiples. They will have a look at a lot of the growth of your baby, the growth of the yolk sac, which then forms into the placenta. So for this scan, you need to have a full bladder, and they will check your baby for lots of different things, and you have a choice of whether you would like to have your baby screened for Down syndrome and other symptoms, and that is a choice that you need to make for your 12-week scan. Now, if 12 weeks is too late, you can get a private scan. This isn't done on the NHS, so you do have to pay for it, and depending on where you live, that can be between £60 to £150. Now, you can get those done as early as 9 weeks, but please bear in mind that it can be a little bit underwhelming. Your baby isn't formed into that baby shape that you expect to see on a scan, so just do bear that in mind. But it can be used to check that you have a healthy baby, that the baby is in the right place, if you've got multiples or not, and that the baby is developing correctly. So that will put your mind at ease should you want to see your baby before 12 weeks. There are then several other appointments that we've mentioned that will check things like your blood pressure and that the pregnancy is progressing well. You would then have the long-awaited 20-week scan. Now, everybody looks forward to the 20-week scan because they get to see their baby again. There's only 2 appointments where you usually get to see your baby, and that's 12 weeks and 20 weeks. So you get to see your baby. They'll check that the baby is growing correctly. They'll check all the measurements of the baby's bone, its brain, and they'll also check the baby's organs at that scan. So it's really exciting. Now, don't forget to ask to hear the baby's heartbeat. It's the first time you can hear the baby's heartbeat at the 20-week scan. And also, if you want to, you can also find out the gender of your baby. Now, do let the sonographer know if you don't want to find out the gender of your baby, because they will need to keep that hidden from you throughout the scan, because sometimes you can see it. After the 20-week scan, you'll have several appointments again just to check your growth, check your blood pressure and different things like that. The next time you will physically see your baby will be on the birthday. There are a few things that the NHS and the World Health Organization say to avoid in pregnancy. Now, try not to think of this as a list of lots of things that you can't do during pregnancy. Try to think of it as the healthiest 9 months of your life. Just try and reframe it. Let's be positive. So let's cover the things that you can eat. So you can eat eggs cooked any way as long as they are British Lion standard. And you can also eat any kind of cheese as long as it is pasteurised, and that goes for milk as well. Cheese and milk, any dairy needs to be pasteurised. Now, what are the things that they recommend to avoid? Now, it's best to avoid any uncooked or raw meat, fish or shellfish. They also recommend to not eat any game meats, so pheasant, partridge or goose, avoid those, and to not have any kind of liver, even in pate. You're also asked to avoid licorice root, and then things to limit: 2 portions of oily fish a week maximum, and 4 cups of herbal tea a day maximum. Alcohol and drugs, obviously, we know to avoid those. And we know to limit your caffeine to 200 milligrams a day. Now, caffeine doesn't just exist in tea and coffee, it also exists in food. So take a look at how much there might be. For example, there's 100 milligrams in 1 cup of coffee, there's 75 milligrams in 1 cup of tea, but we also know that there's caffeine in chocolate and Coca-Cola and lots of it in energy drinks. So just bear that in mind throughout the day, how much caffeine you're getting. Now, the reason for cutting out many of these foods isn't just because they want you to stop doing and stop eating lots of things that you enjoy, but it's because of the risks, not just to you, but also to your unborn baby. So by eating these things, you could be at risk of getting listeria or toxoplasmosis, which can cause food poisoning. Now, the food poisoning can be really harmful to your unborn baby. It has a very small risk of stillbirth. It can also cause problems in the development of your baby. So they're definitely things to consider avoiding. Liver also has really high levels of vitamin A. Now, vitamin A is something else. We recommend that you take a pregnancy multivitamin and not a general multivitamin A to Z, because a general multivitamin A to Z has high levels of vitamin A, and just like liver, with the vitamin A in that. We want to avoid vitamin A in pregnancy. Something else to take is folic acid. Folic acid is really important for the growth of your baby's spine. So do take folic acid as early as when you're trying for a baby, if you can. If you haven't started already, take folic acid as soon as you can. So let's talk about cravings. Many people get them. People love to share their stories. I know that I did, and mine was sausages. Sausages in any form. For breakfast, lunch, dinner, sausage rolls were my favourite. But I didn't get anything stranger than that. But many people do get cravings. It can start from as early as 5 weeks. Usually your cravings peak in the middle of the second trimester, so that's between that 12 to 28 weeks, and they usually disappear in the final trimester, but everybody's different. Now, if you do get a craving, go with it. It's usually your body's way to tell you that you need something that's in that food. So listen to your body, go with what your instincts are telling you. Now, the only cravings that you do hear people getting are cravings for things like coal or bleach. Now, if you do get a very unusual craving like that, then do speak to your GP, because it can be a sign of a vitamin deficiency. There are a few things that you can do to keep you and your baby healthy during pregnancy. The first thing is a flu jab. This is available to you throughout pregnancy on the NHS. And as somebody who did get the flu at 8 weeks pregnant, I can tell you it is not recommended. You can't take any medication, so it is very, very uncomfortable. So do go and get your flu jab. So another thing that's available to you is whooping cough vaccination. Now, if a baby contracts whooping cough when they're very little, it does usually end in hospital admissions. Now, the good thing is you can avoid that before they're even born by getting the whooping cough vaccination, and it's all available on the NHS, and you get that between 16 and 32 weeks. The other thing that's available to you is free dental care. These babies can take a lot of our calcium, so your teeth can be affected throughout pregnancy. So do take the opportunity to go and claim your free dental care. The other thing that's available to you is free prescriptions. So do sign up for those online. You'll get given a maternity card where you can claim your free prescriptions. So make sure you get that. It's all available to you on the NHS. Exercise. Everybody worries about exercise. Can I continue doing it? Do I have to stop? Now, it's incredible for your body and your baby to keep exercising. If you were a runner before, you can continue to run. If you did yoga before, you can continue to do yoga. If you did nothing before, you can still introduce light exercise into your day. There are a few safe guidelines to follow. So try not to exercise to exertion. You shouldn't feel so out of breath that you can't hold a conversation. So try and keep those levels down a little bit, just so you're practicing safe exercise with your baby. Drink lots of fluids. Make sure you're not getting dehydrated throughout your exercise. There are also some exercises that you just have to check are pregnancy safe. So there are certain moves, for example, in yoga, twisting and upwards, upside down moves that are not as recommended during pregnancy. So just take a look at the exercise that you are doing and have a look for the pregnancy safe guidelines on that specific exercise. Anything where you are lying on your back is not recommended in late pregnancy, particularly in the third trimester. So don't do anything where you're lying flat on your back. Try to do it on your side. And if you're doing pregnancy yoga, they will adapt that for you. Try not to do anything where you have a risk of falling. So cycling or skiing are best avoided during pregnancy. Also, contact sports are not recommended for obvious reasons. But you can still exercise happily to keep you really healthy during pregnancy. If you've done nothing before and you'd like to start something, swimming is an amazing experience for you and your baby, and it also alleviates all of the pressure from your body, so that's a great thing to do. And I can't rave enough about pregnancy yoga, but do what's right for you, whatever you enjoy doing. You know, brisk walks are great, even light walks are great, but do keep up exercise in pregnancy. It's really important to train your body. It's like a marathon or a performance. You do need to train and keep yourself fit, healthy and active, and keep your baby healthy and active. The other thing you might want to look at around your home is taking a look at the chemicals that you use. So how about your cleaning products or your shampoos and your conditioners, anything that you come into contact with day to day? Is it worth reducing the number of chemicals that you use? So you can get lots of fantastic natural products now that use 100% plant-based ingredients. It's probably really good for you to reduce the number of chemicals around you and your growing baby. Something to think about. So I know one of the things that I wanted to know the most when I was pregnant was, how does it make you feel? Or are the things that I'm feeling pregnancy, am I pregnant? And I wanted to keep reconfirming that those little lines on the test was correct and I was actually pregnant. So let's go through some of the things that you might feel at the beginning or during pregnancy. So at the beginning of pregnancy, you might have no symptoms whatsoever, apart from the fact that you've missed your period. However, from 4 to 6 weeks, you can start having signs of pregnancy. And that can start with feeling a bit more tired than usual, or you might feel really fatigued. You might have a metallic taste in your mouth. That one was a really strange one for me and came about very early on. You might have sore breasts, and it might even hurt to kind of cuddle somebody or hold something close to you. So sore breasts are a really big indicator. You might unfortunately get constipated. That is a sign and is a symptom of pregnancy. You might also get some more vaginal discharge than you had before. I remember a really big aversion to certain food and drinks. So I used to love something, and then during those first few weeks I would suddenly hate it. And then equally, you really, really want something and you love the smell of something. That can also be pregnancy symptoms. And then the final one that everybody talks about is morning sickness. So frustratingly, morning sickness isn't just in the morning. How annoying. Morning sickness can happen any time of the day. People normally liken it to feeling seasick or having a bad hangover, which is really unfortunate. And you can start to feel this from as early as 6 weeks, and it usually gets better around 12 weeks. Now, some people experience morning sickness in different ways. Some people just feel nauseous all the time or have waves of nausea. Other people are physically sick. Now, I should say with all these symptoms, if you feel none of them or all of them, there's a huge range of normal. So don't worry if you're not feeling the symptoms. Equally, don't worry if you've got really strong symptoms as well. There's a really large range of normal when it comes to the symptoms. Now we're going to talk about how to make morning sickness a little bit better, or try and alleviate some of the symptoms of morning sickness. So morning sickness can be caused by hunger, which is quite frustrating because you don't really feel like eating, and that can then aggravate the morning sickness and make it a little bit worse. So try and eat small portions all the way through the day, but try and snack often. This even applies before you go to bed, so try and have a snack before you go to bed. And if you do wake up in the night for a wee, which does happen frequently when you become pregnant, maybe have a snack then as well. A cracker or a banana or just anything you can stomach can really help to alleviate that sickness feeling in the morning. That can mean you can have a light breakfast and then alleviate those symptoms by eating regularly and often. Try and eat plain foods if you can. Try not to have fatty processed foods because they can really aggravate nausea and sickness. So try and keep foods plain and simple, or eat whatever you fancy eating. Try and really listen to your body. Whatever it fancies, go for that as long as it makes you feel better. Now, ginger, lemon and peppermint can be your heroes during morning sickness. It's usually one or the other, but you might like all of them or you might like none of them. For me, it was peppermint. I drank peppermint tea. I burnt peppermint essential oils. I smelled peppermint. I had it on a napkin, so if I felt a bit sick, that could help. And I also ate peppermints, which really, really helps. And you can do the same with ginger and you can do the same with lemon. So give that a go. See if you like or prefer any one and whether that helps. I know that really helped me. So lemon, ginger and peppermint can really help you. So morning sickness can be a way of your body telling you to rest. You are growing a human, you're growing its bones, its organs, its brain. It really is a good time to rest. So sometimes just resting and making time for small rests throughout the day can really help with morning sickness. As well as that, drinking lots of water, making sure you're getting lots of fluids. It might be that water is aggravating the sickness for you and aggravating the nausea. So maybe try something else that you like to drink, maybe a juice or an electrolyte drink might help. Coconut water is a great one. Try and drink anything that you can. And if drinking is a real problem, why not try really fluid-rich foods like soup or melon. Now, if you are not getting enough fluids, do speak to your doctor. And if you are not keeping food down regularly throughout the day or keeping your fluids down, do speak to your doctor. It's really important. Another thing that I swore by was relaxation. So we know that pregnancy, you need to rest. You're building a baby. I know it's not probably convenient for you to rest, but taking even just 5-10 minutes a day to do a little bit of meditation, relaxation, maybe a pregnancy yoga can be really beneficial in the first weeks of pregnancy and can help alleviate these symptoms and make you feel better. So it's nothing strenuous, but go online and do a pregnancy yoga, do some light breathing, and that can really help too. So I hope all of those things will really help you in these first few weeks. It's not forever. Remember, everything is a phase. Now, I hope all this information has helped you. I really hope that you feel better soon. If you are suffering with morning sickness, do rest, do take time for yourself, look after yourself, and get help from friends and family wherever you can. Now let's talk about weight gain. So everybody is unique. Everybody will gain a different amount of weight, and you are going to gain weight. You are growing a baby. Now the NHS guidelines are between 10 and 12.5 kilograms. That's between 22 and 26 pounds. Now you'll gain most of your weight in pregnancy after 20 weeks. However, be healthy, be active, eat well, and just be proud of your body for growing a baby. Now the weight isn't just your baby, so obviously your baby weighs a lot and is growing every day. Your amniotic fluid is growing, so that's actually the water that's around your baby, and you're also growing a new organ, you're growing the placenta. So you've got these three things that are growing and are gaining weight. They're going to be making you gain weight. Your body is also gaining weight because your body starts to store fat all around your body, and that is to produce breast milk. So your body is going to change, but just appreciate it. It's doing an amazing thing. What a superpower is growing a baby. So try not to worry too much about your weight gain. Try and notice how your skin is glowing and your hair looks glossy and shiny and is probably growing at the rate of knots, and your nails look strong and amazing. So try and notice those things rather than your growing body. It is different, it is something to get used to, but you are beautiful and your body is doing something amazing. So you got this, don't worry. So sleep. Everybody says sleep before the baby comes, but that is not as easy or not always possible. Try and make yourself as comfortable as you can to sleep. It is really important you get as much as you can. Pregnancy pillows are a great thing to help you get comfortable. They're also a great thing to encourage you to sleep on your side if you are somebody that sleeps on their back. Remember, it's not recommended to sleep on your back in your third trimester. You can also get a great thing for your third trimester called a bump wedge, and it slots underneath your bump to support it and can really help you get comfortable in those final few weeks. A lot of people suffer from twitchy legs when they're trying to get to sleep in pregnancy. Now magnesium can be a great thing to help with that. People also struggle with an overactive mind, and to get comfortable, essential oils can be excellent for that. So get some essential oils, burn them before bed, or get a lovely candle that can really relax you before bedtime. Now we're going to mention it again. Pregnancy yoga is fantastic for before bedtime. If you really don't like yoga and you're like, shut up, stop telling me about yoga, I hate it, just some deep breathing can be really beneficial. In through the nose for, say, the count of 4, and out through the mouth for a longer count, so 6 to 8, or however you feel comfortable doing it. But breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, it can release your shoulders, it can release your jaw, it can get rid of tension to allow you to have a really lovely night's sleep. Do 5 of those before you drift off, and it should help you sleep better and deeper throughout the night. So how is your baby growing? I know that I was absolutely fascinated about this. Every week your baby is the size of a different fruit, which is great to see. But every week you can also take a look at the developmental milestones of your baby, and it's amazing every week what's happening in your baby. So it might be that their brain is developing, their eyes are developing, their lungs are developing. It might be that they've formed hands this week, or they've got arms this week. It's incredible to see all the different developments of your baby. What I found was it was an amazing thing to share with my partner and my friends and family. So why not sit down once a week, make it a bit of a routine, and watch a video online about the developments of your baby that week. It really helps to bring your partner closer to the experience. Remember, they can't feel what's happening, they're not as connected to what's happening as you are, and also to inform your friends and family of what's happening and to bring them into the experience as well. So do it as a team, you're all in this together, and make that experience of learning about how your baby is developing a really lovely one every week. It also really helped me to relax and rest, because to realise that this week you are building a heart, or you're building a brain, or your baby is doing something amazing, which it is every week, really made me realise how much that was taking out of me and made me be kinder to myself. So it's a great thing to do for bonding and to share with your partner, friends and family, but it's also a great thing for your mindset and to realise how incredible this process is and how incredible you are. So that is your guide to pregnancy. Now 9 months might feel like a really long time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a really short period. You might be feeling horrendous today, but in your 2nd and 3rd trimester, you might have days where you feel so energetic and amazing. It can be wonderful to keep a record of these things, write them down, take loads of photos. It's a great way to connect to your pregnancy after you've experienced it. And let's be honest, we don't experience it many times in our lives. So try and be present and live in the moment and think about it positively. So as you have done by watching this video, we recommend you get as informed as possible about the experience that is about to come. Not just about the birth, but also about feeding, sleep, how your relationship might change, not just with your partner, but your friends and family. Take a look at our online course for birth and parenting. Get informed, get confident, and get empowered, and experience ICE birthing and ICE parenting. You've got this.